Hey, everybody, welcome to tonight's live stream meditation class. Um, our theme tonight is finding peace in the eye of the storm. But I do just want to say, for public safety, please do not actually meditate in a storm. That can be dangerous. We're, we're talking about like spiritual storm, emotional, not real storm.
Maybe sometimes it's okay to
Yeah,
say
right.
that
As long as it's not, not too
every
crazy.
now and then. Gotta.
Well, my name is Dr. Asatar Baker. My co-teacher here, Leah Schaefer. Um, we
Hello,
teach
everyone.
we teach
Welcome.
heart rhythm meditation. The form of meditation comes out of Sufism, the Sufism of Hazrat Inayat Khan, and so every week we try to choose some kind of theme, and we're just talking about the things that are going on for us and what might be helpful. So if you want if you want to help us out with themes, we always love to hear those. But we just feel this, like, so
Mm,
many of us, I mean, and ourselves included, right, are struggling with when it just feels like there's so much change going on in your life and around you, that, like, your eyes are like peeling back from the the wind of the speed at which you're going, right? um, and and what gives you peace in a moment like that, or when you feel like so many things are changing, it's confusing, it's overwhelming. um, maybe it's you struggling with something that someone else has done that's really affected you, right? Struggling with
mm,
disappointment, betrayal, sadness, or longing, or right. I mean, this
mm,
this is what we all go through, and so we wanted to just kind of talk about it a little bit, and of course meditate on some of these themes too.
mm. Yeah, thank you so much, Asatar. So I was thinking about like what are some of the pain points that we're kind of addressing with the topic tonight? And I mean, it could really be anything that happens in our life, but it's essentially like tonight in particular is those moments of complete overwhelm, like where you have an identity shift that's so significant that you no longer recognize yourself, and you have a certain level of disorientation from the overwhelm or from the identity shift, um, and also from heartbreak. And so, like,
Yeah.
I remember really well the first time that I ever felt this experience of like really having a storm just brewing in my body all the time. Um, and it was before I knew how to meditate, and it was just one of these life-changing events that shattered my heart completely. I mean, my heart was completely broke open, and like
Mm.
everything in my life was about to change. My entire identity was about to completely change, and I didn't know who I was or where I was, and there was just this extreme disorientation, but a constant brewing inside of my body. And it was like at that time that I really found, even before I learned this method of heart rhythm meditation, I found that there was only one place inside of me that had stillness and that had peace and that had calm. And it was right in the very center of my heart. And
Mm.
it was like, it was such like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it was such a strange juxtapose, of like, or contradiction, of like my heart was the reason my heart had broken open. And it was the reason that there was like just extreme chaos going on inside. And at the same time, the very center of my heart was the only place inside of me that I could feel this connection to peace, to calm,
Mm.
to what I would now describe as omnipotent presence within the center of my own being. Yeah,
Wow. Right. Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I just think it's really important if you're going through this now, or you've been through this before, or you're going to go through it in the future. Like, it's really important to realize that there is always an eye to the storm. And what's so shocking is that the eye of the storm is right in the very center of your being. And so this is part of what we're going to
Mm.
attune to tonight, because I really do feel for everybody that goes through this. And we go through it so many times throughout our life to different variations, to different degrees. So I hope that we can be helpful tonight, for anybody and everybody that feels like maybe there's a bit of a shit show happening in their life.
You know, we want to be real, right? We want to be real with what's going on for us. I mean, we get put on a pedestal and whatever as meditation teachers, right? And people think like, oh, we don't have problems, because we are so enlightened, right? Like, you know,
We don't know if anybody thinks that. We're just like these meditating nerds. And everybody's like, oh, here's my nerdy meditation friends. That could be also how you see us. So
yeah, it's a mix. It's a mix.
it's a mixed bag.
But certainly when you have students, right? When you have students, that's more how they tend to see you, and um, because I mean, like this happens with anyone who's a teacher of anything, right? But like, when it's
Hmm.
meditation, of course, it's like, well, you must really, really know everything, right? Or really, right? Um, and like our whole struggle is like, of course, we have, the same kind of problems as anyone does, right? And but um, how do we take what we're passionate about, what we've learned, and use it, make it real? And um, this is something we each have to do, right? Like whatever it is that your skill is, you have to own it, right? And that means you apply it to the, the current situation, whatever that is, right? um, so that's what we always try and do, right? But we're gonna do that tonight on this theme, right? Because there are these moments where the pace of change is just really rapid, and um, and that brings pain and confusion and overwhelm with it too, right? Because
Yeah.
these things always go together, and yet there is that still point within you that you can access. Um, that's always there. And I love how in your story, Leah, um, you had that experience and you didn't necessarily have like a whole philosophical framework for it or whatever, but like you were feeling it. It was real to you nonetheless, and I think
Um,
that's beautiful. Like we always kind of know on some level, you know?
oh, 100%. It was the beginning of my spiritual path. It was the beginning of all. I just kept saying, just listen to your heart, just follow your heart, like really sweetly talking with myself through that
Mm.
storm that was just brewing all the time, like months, it was just going. And I really was like, just follow your heart. And then my heart led me into yoga, asana, and into meditation. And that was the beginning, 13 years ago, that was the beginning of deep diving into the subconscious,
Right.
so,
you
yeah,
have the
but
you have these sort of plateaus, right, where maybe not much changes for a while, but then you go through this accelerated period, right, like where
mm,
where a lot of stuff changes, and then you have
yeah,
to draw on the resources that you've accumulated within yourself, you know um, and this is one of the things we can cultivate, so by
mhm,
strengthening our hearts, by going within and knowing ourselves, by looking at our desires, by looking at what we value, by looking at who we are, right? This gives us a foundation for when, to because that's what
mhm.
creates, or partly, right, what creates that center. um,
Yeah, and it anchors you into something. It gives you what you're describing is like the ability to anchor within yourself, to anchor into that part of yourself. And it does come through like this like reliable access to your own inner source and your reliable access to your like own inner um, connection to the infinite.
yeah.
And through that, essentially, you become stronger in yourself, as you continue. But it gives you somewhere when you're most disoriented. It gives you somewhere, some place to reliably anchor into.
Well said. Well, shall we do some meditation then and see if we can get into this? What it is that we're talking about? Finding
I would
peace in the eye of the storm.
I would love to, Asatar.
All right. Well, let's get your posture together. I'm sitting in a little bit different chair tonight than I'm used to, so I'm just gonna make some adjustments so that I can sit with a good upright kind of energy. Um, I have my lower back supported, which I like. That gives me some support and yet allows my upper body to be very upright. And I have I'm sitting kind of on the edge of my seat a little bit. So you want to get your seating together so that you can have this upright posture. We want to be energetic in our posture. You close your eyes and tune into your breath. And we would like to breathe in a way which energizes our hearts. So as you breathe, just imagine that it is your heart that is taking in energy. As you take in breath, you take in energy. And where that energy goes depends on what you're focused on. So just imagine, use your attention, this is a visualization here. You're visualizing as you breathe in, but your breath is a stream of light. And that stream of light comes into your heart and brings your heart energy, light, inspiration. This is another word for the inhalation. Kind of a wonderful word for that, right? Because, of course, inspiration, it means breathing in it, but it also means when your spirit comes alive. And and what a wonderful truth that expresses. And then as you breathe out, imagine that your heart just shines. It just shines and radiates that light from deep within you. Breathing in, you are being shined upon. You are taking in that light, that love from all around. Just taking it in as your heart does. Your heart is always taking in energies, taking in impressions. All you're doing now is you're being conscious of this and choosing to see it as love and light, and that these energies are different as you breathe in versus as you breathe out. Breathing in, you receive, and breathing out, you give, you express, you shine, you radiate. Now, Heart Rhythm Meditation seeks to perfect the breath, to make the breath deep, slow, rhythmic, heart centered, and full. So, deep means that when you breathe in, you allow your belly to expand. Just let down some of your armor that's around your midsection. And just allow your belly to just relax and expand. And as your abdominal muscles relax and expand, the breath is pulled into your lungs. It has more room because your diaphragm gets kind of slightly pulled down. And as you breathe out, you just contract that belly of yours. But not in a harsh way, not in a forceful way, but like you're kind of pulling the strings on a bag. And it's getting smaller and smaller, right? Nice smooth action of your abdominal muscles as you breathe out, squeezing them, and as you breathe in, opening and relaxing. Belly expands as you breathe in and contracts as you breathe out. Now you also work on making your breath slow. So you can do that by, first of all, just make your breath smooth. Control your breath. Don't let it rush all in at once. Smooth it out, okay, so that less rushes in initially, but that flow continues over a longer time. You're developing breath control. And since breath is life, breath is energy, you are also developing energetic control and even control over the energies that are everywhere in life. Deep, slow, rhythmic, heart-centered, and full. Now, rhythmic means that the rhythm of the breath is even on the inhalation and the exhalation. Well, it just means that it's in a repeated pattern, actually, but the one I'd like to suggest is that it's the same on the inhalation as the exhalation. And you can do this by tuning into your heartbeat and breathing in the same number of beats on the inhalation as you breathe out on the exhalation. Now, the heartbeat can be difficult to find, so be patient if you're not feeling your heartbeat right away. If you are, that's fantastic. Begin to count the beats of your heart. Breathe in the same number as you breathe out. For me, that is 8 beats in, 8 beats out. Or sometimes I'll do 12 and 12, or maybe even more. But 8 beats in, 8 beats out gives you a nice, slow, solid, powerful breath. So work on that. If you can't feel your heartbeat, then take your palm and place it on your chest. You could even take both palms and then even curl the fingers around on one and just feel your wrist with the finger that's curled around there, and maybe that gives you a sense of your heartbeat. Listening to your heartbeat is a skill. And while we know that some people have it right away and some people do not, we know that if you work at it, you will feel it. Most amazing, your heart is still beating. Your heart is there. Maybe just hiding a little bit, but that's a wonderful thing to search for. Now we also make the breath heart-centered, not only by listening to the physical heart and the beating of your heart, to feeling that beat, but also we make the breath heart-centered by that visualization that I mentioned, by feeling that the breath is coming into your heart, and the energy of the breath particularly is coming into your heart and energizing you, filling you up with love and light, and then radiating that energy outwards as you breathe out. I will tell you that for me personally, the last year that I've gone through has been the most painful and difficult year of my life. Whenever I sit down and meditate, I'm in a lot of pain because that's the reality of my heart. That's what I've been given. And I will confess that sometimes it makes me not want to sit down and meditate because I just don't want to get into it. But I also tell you that every time I do it, it helps me so much. Because even though I feel this pain and this confusion swirling around inside my heart, I also feel this kind of axis, like that doesn't really move, that is just like a column of power, and that gives me hope, that sustains me, that gives me strength, that knows that I'll be able to endure. It gives me a feeling that my heart is full of love, even though this pain is so present, that my heart is still longing to love and be loved, even in my heartbreak. You have so much richness inside you. Your heart is infinite. Your heart is unlimited. Your heart is perfect. There is no feeling that is stronger than your heart. And I know it doesn't always feel like that. I know I have the same overwhelming storm of emotions swirling through me all the time these days. But when I tune in to my heart, even if I'm not meditating, but if I just take a breath, if I just remember that I know that to be true, I know that because I've experienced it again and again and again and again. And I forget it in between sometimes, I'll admit that. I don't always remember my highest truths all the time. I don't think anybody does. I don't know. I can definitely say I don't. But I seem to be able to remember them. And then I say, oh, yes, of course. Yes, right. How could I have forgotten that? And that's literally the most important thing. Oh my God, I forget it all the time. And how lucky I am to remember it sometimes too. How wonderful. The last piece of the breath is to make the breath full. And that means to really extend your exhalation, really squeeze your abdominal muscles, squeeze out all the breath. And then breathe in and make your breath big and powerful. First, expand your belly, then your ribs, breathing all the way up to your collarbone. Just stretching the whole breathing apparatus, but keeping the breath controlled, keeping the breath smooth, keeping the breath silent or as quiet as possible. And keeping the breath rhythmic so that your breath has both power and subtlety. I'll tell you for myself, when I take a really full breath in this manner, my heart just comes alive and just starts soaring. I feel like I've gone from the size of an ant to the size of a giant in a single breath. This feeling does not make my problems go away by any stretch of the imagination, but it sure gives me a different perspective on them. It sure feels different in that moment to confront my problems. I mean, it's true that some of them don't feel like problems at all anymore. And some are still there. Some of them, they don't necessarily have a solution to anything, but I feel hopeful about it. Like, I'm going to figure this out. This seems intractable, but I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to make progress here. There's going to be something that will break, even if I can't see what it is. I'm gonna get a good kind of break. You know? It's the kind of feeling that makes faith very easy to sustain because faith just feels natural. It feels natural when your heart feels so full, so alive, so energized. You're just like, well, yeah, I mean, okay, of course, I believe in the power of my heart to shine forth on the problems and barriers and obstacles and so on in my life. And of course, I believe that the light that shines from my heart will overcome these things. It just feels so evident that it will, just like I'm sure that the sunlight will melt the snow. That's just sort of how it works. And isn't it often the belief in oneself that is sometimes the first thing to go? When you just feel so stunned, so intimidated, so overwhelmed, flummoxed by problems and disappointments and heartbreaks and all of the things that keep you in this turmoil. But when your heart gets big like this, big energy, stuff doesn't seem so overwhelming. There's always challenges. There's always stresses because we're always growing, we're always changing. And growth and change and pain are very close friends, aren't they? Even good changes that we would deem good, right? If they're big, they will cause pain. That's the contradiction. And even bad things happening, what we deem bad, always have some kind of positive to them as well, because there's a part of us that is longing for change. There's a part of us that says, yes, this being in this stuck place is so stifling. I want that change. I need that change. And sometimes it is catalyzed by something that we might deem bad in the moment. Perhaps it will end up being better than you thought. Take a final breath, deep, rhythmic, slow, heart-centered, full. And when you're ready, we'll bring our meditation to a close.
Mm. 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 Oh, Satara, I just feel so grateful for you. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, sweetheart. I feel very grateful for
Oh.
you too.
Such a deep and profound meditation, Asatar.
Mm.
Mm.
I'm happy to share it with you.
Mm. Yeah, I really felt your heart and your center and just like what it really takes to come into the center of our being, to come into our light, like how much we really go through, to keep that through all conditions, to remember through all conditions, right?
Yeah.
And I could really feel like that dynamic in your voice as you guided us through that meditation.
Mm.
Mm.
It really does take so much, doesn't it?
Mm. And yet it's like that power, that pillar you were talking about inside of us is stronger than all of it. And
Mm.
I could feel that too, and I could feel that in your words, and I could feel that in the resonance of your voice. And it's just so incredible, the dynamics of being able to hold so much in our heart and so many opposites at once. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's true that we
When,
forget that about ourselves, right? I mean, like we know it,
yeah,
we know it, and we forget it.
yeah, all the time. Um, one of the things I was thinking about was how, and I felt this when you were guiding us in the meditation, was like when we deepen our breathing, especially when we create that full rhythmic breath, then essentially what we're doing is we're creating harmony in our body, right? Right away, we're creating harmony.
Yeah.
And it's like with our breath, we're starting to play the melody of peace inside our own being,
Mm.
like right away. And with the
Mm.
with the fullness of breath that you were describing, it is very much, it felt, I could feel that. And it's like every breath that we take can create these waves of peace throughout our whole being and create this harmony right away. And so you don't have to be even very far on your path to already start to be able to bring harmony into your body, on
Yeah,
demand, like as you wish.
absolutely.
Um,
This is
yeah.
why we spend so much time on the breath, right? Because it's such a powerful tool, like if you can control your breath, I mean, you could work for years on trying to develop, control over your mind. And that's important, we have to be able to control our mind. But like, if you can control your breath, it'll take you a fraction of the time to learn that, right?
Hmm.
Like, it's such a powerful tool. Um, and just
Yeah, it's
control
like,
your energy, right? Like, that's,
mhm.
yeah.
And you can think of it as like when you're breathing this way, as creating the harmony that helps your body remember the melody of peace.
Hmm.
So every time that you're doing this, like you are very much like creating music within yourself. It's just you can't hear it, you can just only feel
That's so good. I kind of wish we had
it.
called our class "The Melody of Peace." Maybe that'll be next week's title or something. That's a good
It
metaphor.
help it helps when after I meditate on the topic, then I come up with better ideas.
Right. That's how that's how it works, right? Inspiration.
Uh, oh goodness. All right. Well, I'm kind of tempted just to jump into the next one. Is there
Let's do
anything you
it.
wanted to bring up first?
No.
No. Okay. I'll give some space for some stillness in this next one. I really need to stretch. I don't know if it's just the chaos in my body or what, but
Mm.
I really need to stretch. So I want to invite everybody to stretch, little 3-minute stretch break. Anything that you might need.
Mm.
We always want to honor our whole self, our whole body. We're not excluding any part of ourself. We're finding the infinite within and then allowing that to embrace and enfold us. Just like a river rushing to the sea, and then the ocean comes and it takes over because it's so much bigger than we are, but it's already inside. And so, as you're ready, coming into your posture, and we're just rushing toward the ocean by taking this committed stance, this committed seat. I'm here, I am present with myself, with my heart, with my being. And right away, try to tune in with the very center of your heart, the very center of yourself. Try to find that key note within the core of your being, that key note that hits this pitch that overrides everything else. And it's deep, layers upon layers upon layers within the center of your heart. It's in the very eye of the storm. And then as you find yourself magnetically pulled, energetically pulled toward that keynote, toward that place of stillness inside of your being, start to deepen your breath. And just like Asatar describes so beautifully, making it almost like a big stream of breath moving up and down through your whole body. Full breathing in and complete breathing out. So now you have two things going for you. You have your anchor, that keynote inside the center of you, the source of life within your soul. The note of the infinite, of the full spectrum, constantly resonating its pitch in the very center of you. And then not only that, but you have your breath going now too. Full breathing in and complete breathing out rhythmically, maybe even in the rhythm of your own heartbeat. Creating harmony on a very fundamental level of our own life, of our own existence. Helping you remember, helping you feel in your body the melody of peace. And maybe your attention shifts from one to the other, but try to hold both of these at once. Especially anchoring deeper and deeper, tuning yourself, attuning with the omnipotent presence, the omnipotent stillness, the connection to all of life and the connection to the infinite, which resides in the abode of your own being. And every breath that you take, it's almost as if you are allowing the silence, the stillness to become louder inside your body. You are making, creating more and more presence of peace by breathing with it now. It's already within you. It is the core of you, but you're making it bigger. You're bringing that presence more and more powerfully into your whole body, into the front of your heart, even out your eyes. As if you're taking full ownership over this one note, this one keynote of life. this one keynote that plays in the very center of your being. It is the place of attunement within us that each of our souls are deeply seeking. And it's already there. It's already within you, but you have to draw it out. And you have to focus, hone in on it, and then let it grow with every breath that you're taking, like music resounding through your whole body, your whole being. Be more with yourself than you've ever been. Go deeper into your body, into your heart, into your soul than you ever realized was possible. Dig down that much. And breathe. Life is a struggle, whether we go this way or that way. And the more that you attune to the infinite within your being, the more that you attune to the eye of the storm, the more peace you allow to build within your body with your presence and with your breath, the more power that you gain to see yourself through all of the jarring conditions of life, all of the difficulties, all of the uncertainty, all of the changes that occur within my identity and with my understanding of life. And so that's why with every breath that you take, build more and more and more of that energy that's inside, let it grow, let it become bigger than the chaos. You're not going to find the solution at this moment in your mind. There's too much chaos. And so allow yourself to grow that harmony, to grow that peace in your body and share it with your whole being. Sharing that peace with your whole being, sharing the center of yourself all around your body with your breath, so that you are nourished on a soul level so that you can continue on your journey, so that you remember, if anybody strikes my heart, it does not break but bursts, and that light coming from it becomes the beacon on my path. Every time my heart breaks, my light only becomes stronger because I become more open and all of the light inside of me reveals itself again. Let your heart become your beacon in the darkness. Let your heart become the eye of any storm. Truth can strike like lightning. Truth can really strike down like lightning in our own body. And then it echoes, this truth echoes through your body like thunder, echoing through you, knowing, realizing. But the truth, the real truth, that truth that's in the very center of your being, that truth, it cannot be spoken. And that truth is all peace giving. That truth is peace giving. So see if you can feel that. Feel the lightning of truth striking down within your spine, within the center of your being, until it echoes through your whole body like thunder. But not a truth that harms, but a truth that cannot be spoken, it can only be attuned to, it can only be felt within you. One that is all peace giving. You don't have the answers right now in your mind, and so you must allow yourself to surrender. You must allow yourself to deeply rest in the abode of this truth within you and within your being. And that will be the light that helps to guide you through. As you're ready, when you're ready, move your body. And even though you're going to open your eyes, stay connected with the space you found inside. Mm.
Lovely meditation, Leah.
Mm. Thank you for meditating with me, everyone.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, I hope you all got a chance to feel that, that melody of peace, that rhythm of peace, um, that magic that happens when you make your breath rhythmic and really go inside. And we have a nice comment here.
Peace to us both. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. Thank
Nice
you
to
so
see you.
much. So wonderful to meditate with you. Oh, thank you so much.
Glad
We
to hear.
should read it out loud, right? Beautiful meditation. Thank you both, is what it says, in case someone's just listening.
Oh, how this
Mm.
one? You both now look so relaxed.
100% love that. I love that.
Well, I feel relaxed, no doubt.
Hopefully, hopefully you feel a little more relaxed too.
I hope so. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Oh.
the
Mm.
h- Hasranite concept. Okay, let's say. All right. Has- Hasranite concept says you can have more relaxation in a moment of meditation that you could in an hour of sleep, and that's. I think there's something to that. Like we hold our worries and anxieties in ourselves sometimes as we're sleeping, right? And um,
Yeah.
it takes some conscious effort, to release some of that, but
Mm.
we release it, and then we feel so much lighter. We're holding on to things that we can't
Mm.
really control.
Yeah, I find that a lot with like this kind of chaos or disorientation within myself is like I
Yeah,
cannot find a solution. Like there is no solution. And
there's
it's
no obvious
like,
solution. If there were, you would have figured it out already. Right?
yeah, yeah. And like like so you can't sort it and you just have to
Yeah,
dive in.
exactly. Look who's here, our friend, our Caduce. Nice to see you. Great ending.
Thank you, AQ. Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Uh,
Well, of course, we're here every
mm,
week, and so we'll. Oh wait, we have a final question here. Do either of you still get the
monkey
occasional
brain.
monkey brain?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, your mind is going to think thoughts. That's
Mhm.
its nature. Um, I think so. You could sort of say like, well, what's the problem? Well, the problem is, um, a lot of times we do a meditation on our fears, right? Like we go
Mm,
over and we endlessly, pick at something, or we're sort of trapped in the low energy kind of thinking, or worry and anxiety and
can't solve
whatever.
the problem, can't
Yeah, and
it's
yet can't stop thinking about
irreconcilable.
it, you know, and um, yeah. So I
Mm,
mean, that does happen, right? That happens whenever you're anxious. But I think, like the approach that we're suggesting here is to not try to attack that directly, but work on it indirectly and say,
right.
let's get the breath rhythm down.
Yeah.
The thoughts are going to do what they're going to do, but let's get the breath rhythm down. And then that just changes your energy so much.
Mm,
You start finding your thoughts are a lot less monkey like. I mean, you're still having thoughts, but they're not as, picking away at the fears and insecurities kind of
you're not
thoughts, right?
stuck in your head. You're not
Yeah,
stuck
you're
in your
not
head.
like stuck in it. And then you
Mm,
also feel a sense of possibility. And I don't mind thoughts at all. Like when I said I go from
mm,
feeling it like an ant to feeling like a giant, I don't mind having giant thoughts, like I don't mind having powerful and inspired thoughts, I treasure those thoughts, right? So I don't
Yeah,
want to turn off the mechanism, like I'm glad that my
yeah.
mind, is smart and thinks thoughts, right? It's just that I don't want them to be the kind where I feel like kind of smothered and trapped by them.
Mhm.
So
And also it can very much be that was beautifully said, Asatar. And it also can very much be like likened to, if you think of an ocean and the storm is on top. So like if there's a big storm, if you dive down deep enough, then you're going to get to a calmer area of the ocean versus the top is just going to be raging, right? And so I find that happens a lot. It can even happen just like with regular daily hypervigilance. And it gets really hard sometimes to go and dive in either because of fear or the mind has just been so reinforced that it's like you can't stop it. And so you kind of want to, if that's happening and you cannot get it to stop, in addition to like the diving in or like that goal of diving deeper, you can also like do some kind of physical exercise in order to just like spend that energy or like do alternate nostril breathing, which also is just like like washing, kind of washing that energy through with big breath basically. Like so you could do deep full breathing, but you want to really get the breath going essentially, to help you basically drop back into your body because right now you're stuck in your head. So just as a different, but yeah, absolutely, we like there's no, all of it's a part of us. So we embrace the whole, as Asatar was saying. So
there's no problem that you guys have that we haven't had at some point. I mean, that's I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. I mean, I don't know exactly, right? But like we we've been we go through a lot, like and we were beginners once too, right? So
all right.
all right, well, thank
Thank
you all
you,
so much for
everyone.
being with us, and we will be here next week. If you'd like to support the show, we have a Patreon link. If you're in Tucson, take a yoga class with Leah. You'll thank me later. And
Thanks, Asatar.
and
Yeah.
of course, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Get out the notification.
Yeah.
We'll see you all next time.
All
Good night.
right. Thanks, everyone. Peaceful evening.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.